dreadlocks. With a bomb buck that was.
Harry tells me you're quite the science whiz, you know.
We had to go. Nobody gets that.
You did it while you're putting your clothes back on, dear.
Yo, brother.
Real slick how Moosey put it in my pocket.
Shut up. It isn't even your pocket, is it, son?
What's up, Starverosis? I'm back. Sorry for the delay in the videos. I have been busy dealing with dental issues, different surgeries, rehabbing, you know, different shit like that. But we're back at it. And the movie that I want to explain to you today, it stars Jonathan Majors. Jonathan Majors plays a bodybuilder named Killian Maddox. And this movie, it dives deep into what I was saying in one of my playthrough videos about men having friends, having someone to talk to, like how difficult that is and how we have to hold it all in. It kind of dives deeper into that. And this movie is Magazine Dreams. This movie was originally supposed to come out after it premiered in the Sundance Festival back in 2023. But because of the whole issue with Jonathan Majors running away from his girl,
dropping surveillance tape where it appears Jabari is pursuing Major,
in that whole situation, it didn't get a chance to come out. However, they released it earlier this year, so shout out to that. This movie was directed by Elijah Bynum, and when I explain to you this dude, you will never disrespect a man's deltoids again. I promise you that shit. If you see a man and he say, yo, how's my deltoids look? You better fucking say, hey bro, them shits is elite. But fuck it, let's get into it. All right, so the movie starts off with Jonathan Majors, and he's on a stage with lights like shining down on him, and he's flexing and shit. He's like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like flexing his ass off. And that's, you know, he's wearing a little bodybuilder underwear, and that's what they do, you know what I'm saying? They do like a lot of flexing in front of people, all oiled up and stuff, you know what I'm saying? No Diddy. But that whole thing is like a little dream sequence. That's where he wants to be. So then the movie transitions to him walking outside and going to his garage, and you see like all the weights and stuff there, and he's flexing in a mirror, like doing different flexes, looking at his muscles, because you know, as a bodybuilder, your body gotta be elite. That six-pack gotta be six-packing, you know what I'm saying? Gotta be like an 8-pack and shit. I ain't even gonna hold you, I tried to strain like that one time and I shit myself. I ain't even gonna lie. I swear I tried to you know what I'm saying, and fucking shit myself. So shout out to Jonathan Majors for not shitting himself. After that, it transitions to him inside of the house, and he's taking care of his grandfather. He just helped him get out the shower, and shout out to him, his character, for taking care of his grandfather, because a lot of people wouldn't do that. A lot of people would just hire a nurse, even though it is expensive. They'd be like, I'll get somebody else to come in here and do it. So shout out to him for actually doing it. While he's doing that, his therapist is talking to him, and she's like, the court has mandated these sessions because they're worried about your aggression. They want to make sure that you don't cause harm to anyone and that you're still capable of taking care of your grandfather. And he's like, yeah, I'm not that aggressive, you know what I'm saying? I could take care of my grandfather. And while it's doing that, he's sitting here, he's eating like fucking 7 to 10 boiled eggs. He got fucking broccoli, he got steak. He's flicking the yolks out the boiled eggs, which, you know what I'm saying, I prefer, you know, to eat the yolk, but whatever. And she's like, well, when you was in the hospital, you became super violent with the nurses and started yelling and making all this noise, talking about you're gonna split somebody's head open and drink their blood. Which, when I heard that shit, I was like, yo, what the fuck? But basically, he doesn't like to be touched, and they were touching him while he was in the hospital, and he wasn't down with that. So now he has to go to these mandated therapeutic sessions just to make sure that he's still able to take care of his grandfather. Then she asks him, are you still suffering from nightmares? Because it says here that you have a history of migraines and nightmares. She says, it also says here that sometimes you hear your mother's voice and other voices as well. And he looks at her and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And she's like, well, do you remember Dr. Rubin? Because Dr. Rubin says that you're sometimes scared of your own thoughts. And he kind of just ignores her. He's looking around and shit. And she's like, well, Killian, what do you want to talk about? And he's like, I want to talk about why I have to drive 6 miles to go to the grocery store, because there's no grocery store in my neighborhood. It's only junk and fast food, and that's not good for you. And she's like, does that make you feel angry? And he's like, no grocery stores, just food that kills you. And he's like, well, I think they do that on purpose. And she's like, who's they? Then it transitions to my man, and he goes and takes out his Captain America lunchbox. And if you know bodybuilders or anybody who's in sports, you know what's in that lunchbox. Okay, it's roids in there. It fucking finna get roided up, you know what I'm saying? Finna go work it out. But takes his roids out, gives himself a shot, and then he goes to the gym. And then he's in there hitting it. He's hitting it hard as fuck because he's doing roids and he's doing cocaine. So he just fucking getting it, you know what I'm saying? After he's done his workout, he's sitting and he's eating, and he sees another group of guys in there working out. And he's like, you know what? I'm gonna approach them and see if I can spark up a friendship. He gets up, walks halfway over there, and then stops. And as a man, that is something that I've done countless times. Countless times I've wanted to say something to another guy, you know what I'm saying, trying to spark up a friendship. Even with females, same thing. You want to spark up that friendship, you want to talk, you want to say, hey, you doing good, or hey, how did you do that? You know what I'm saying? But it's like, A, I'm gonna be labeled weird. B, people are gonna be like, what the fuck do you want? It's the rejection factor. It's the whole thing is rejection. Nobody likes to be rejected. Being rejected hurts, bro. And that's why, in my opinion, he turns around and walks away and don't even say nothing to the dudes. So he grabs his bags and his water and he just leaves the gym, not saying anything to anybody. After he leaves the gym, he's writing a letter to Giga Chad himself, Mike O'Hearn, but in the movie his name is Brad Van Horn. So he's writing a letter to Brad, and it's showing like scenes of him cooking dinner for himself and his grandfather. And he's like, I've written to you a few times before, but you haven't wrote back. And he's literally writing these letters on some Eminem shit, Eminem Stan type shit. He's like, I added my phone number and you can give me a call anytime and we could talk about anything you want. We could talk about bodybuilding. We could talk about just regular life stuff. And he's like, I seen your latest magazine cover and I think it's the best one you've ever done. I have all of your pictures on my wall because I'm your biggest fan. I'm working very hard because I hope to one day build a physique as magnificent as yours. Like, yo is really talking to his idol right now. And just to close out his letter, he's like, please call or write me back. Your #1 fan, Killian Maddox. After he finished writing the letter, bro goes to start watching porn. Like, he's drinking a protein shake, watching porn straight up. After he finishes watching that, he falls asleep and it transitions to the next day. The next day, he's at a bodybuilding competition and all the other bodybuilders are amped up. They're flexing. They're like, yeah, I got this. I got this. And he comes out the bathroom stall and he's like coughing and he's spitting in the sink. And then he looks at himself in the mirror and he smiles. He gives himself that hard smile and then he starts flexing and shit. Then it transitions to him on the stage with the other bodybuilder. And when they call him for them to do the poses, he is doing extra, like he doing like JoJo Siwa extra, like they saying right chest, and he like like flexing and shit. And then all the bodybuilders are big and the stage is kind of small, so they like bumping into each other and shit, like trying to put their muscles in front of the person beside them and shit. So afterwards the judges is like, all right, relax, and like he's looking around, he's smiling and stuff, and he's trying to make a good impression. Then it transitions to the grocery store that he works at, and he walks by this white lady who's looking at the counter to order some food, and he stops and he looks at her and she takes like a step away from him, and he notices that and he's like, I'm just trying to look at the food. But then she switches her purse from one arm to the other arm away from him. He's like, what the fuck? I ain't trying to steal your damn wallet. But he apologizes to the lady and she grabs her food and she walks away. And I mean, as a black dude being around some older white lady, you know what I'm saying, all they see is BG, BN, you know what I'm saying, or BN. But jokes aside, this moment really bothered him, and his coworker walks over and he's like, hey Charlie, can I get 4 pounds of the chicken breast? And he's kind of looking down at the ground, and this really bothered him because he's longing for that human contact. Like, if the lady would have just said something small to him, you know, she would have seen that he's not a bad guy. But I digress. So he gets his food and he's walking to check out, and he sees this beautiful cashier, and he's like, maybe I should try talking to her today. And he tries it. He goes over to her, he says hi, and she says hi, and he's like, I work here too, did you know that? And she's like, that's why we never work together, because you work on these days. And he's like, good memory. So they're making like little chit chat, and she's ringing him up, and during their chit chat we find out that he finished 6th in the bodybuilding competition. And she's like, nice. And she's like, oh. And he's like, no, you're right, that is nice. Like 6th in like the whole thing, like that's dope actually. But he's like, 6 mean that I can go to nationals and try to get my pro card. After he checks out, he gets the courage as he's walking away, and he's like, I'm sorry to do this at your place of employment, but I would like to get your phone number or go out or something. If you have a boyfriend, that's fine, it can just be as friends, but I would still like to get to know you. But then his nerves get the best of him because she doesn't say anything, and he walks away. But he really didn't give her a chance to say anything. It transitions back to him being at home, and he's sitting on the floor and he's watching different bodybuilding competitions, and he's eating broccoli and shit, and he getting amped up, and the TV's loud, and his granddad like, hey, what's going on down there and shit. That part was funny as fuck. And he's like, oh, nothing, Papa. Shout out to Papa. And he gets so amped up that he's like, you know what? I'm gonna go outside and I'm gonna shoot a video. So he goes to his garage and he's like standing there and he's like posing in front of the camera. He's like introducing himself to the camera. And he's like, hello, Killian Maddox here. He's like current competitor, future champion. So he's like speaking that shit into existence. And that's something that my girl always taught to me about. When you want something to happen, you speak that shit into existence, because words have power. Believe that. And you know what else has power? Fucking water. So this is our daily reminder to go drink some fucking water. Let's get it. So he's shooting the same scene over and over again in front of the camera because he doesn't like how he sounds. He's nervous, which I even get nervous when I'm doing these videos. If you can imagine how many times it takes for me to do a take for one of these fucking videos. Like one movie, I did like over 2,000 lines of dialogue just because I didn't like how I said something. So I know exactly how he feels when he's doing this. But anyway, he's doing it. He's getting himself amped up, and then he walks away and he walks back in front of the camera and he's like messing up, stumbling over his words. Then he walks away again and he looks and he sees a light hanging on the shelf. And he's like, oh shit, I could use that light and it'll make it look better. And then he sees like a blue curtain. He's like, yo, I can hang the curtain up behind me. So he hangs the curtain up behind him. He turns the lights on and he walks out in front of the camera and he fucks it up again. And he's like, shit, he amps himself up. He's like, come on, Killian Maddox here. And I was like, yeah, let's fucking go. That shit amped me up. I was like, let's fucking go. Yeah, let's fucking go, bro. Fucking ready to run through a wall for you, bro. Like, hell yeah. So then he finally gets the fucking video right. He's like explaining the fundamentals of bodybuilding. And he's like, yeah, when I went to my first competition, the judge told me that my deltoids was small, which is fucking very disrespectful. And he's like, when he's saying your deltoids is small, your deltoids is made up of 3 muscles. You have your front deltoid, your back deltoid, and the other deltoid, which I'm just fucking, I'm like, yo, he's teaching muscle anatomy and shit. Let's fucking go. Like, but you can tell by that judge telling him that his deltoids are small, it really fucking bothered him because it's constantly on his mind throughout the entire movie. Is how small his fucking deltoids is. And he's asking everybody, like, yo, do my deltoids look small? Anybody he'd speak to, he's like, yo, the judge said my deltoids were small. So it really fucked with him. As he's amping himself up by working out, he suddenly starts to feel a pain by his ribs. And he, like, first he tries tries to like kind of shake it off, but then it cripples him and he ends up falling to the floor. He stands up and tries to do it again, and he says, "Hey guys, Killian Maddox here," and he's fucking pouring sweat. Like literally, it's like somebody took a bucket of water and threw on his ass. That's how much he sweat. And what he does is he posts the video online, not of him falling and stuff, just of him, you know, talking about weights and his muscles and stuff like that. And he's reading the comments of what people are saying about him. People are saying like some really mean shit, and luckily I haven't come across that yet. If you don't like me, I don't give a fuck. Fuck you too, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? But nah, like they're telling him like, why don't you go off yourself? And they're saying like, oh, it's giving hella incel vibes. And it's like, he's not even like that at all. But people online will make up their minds about you without even knowing you, unfortunately. Like somebody said, really, like all jokes aside, why hasn't this person off themselves yet? Like, huh? That's against terms of service and shit, ain't it? Like, what the fuck? But anyway, he closes his laptop and you could tell that those comments really hurt him. And he's kind of like sad, and he's just sitting in his room in the dark, and he just stares at his food and he just starts eating. And that's something that I wish that, you know, eating disorders, like I was one of those people who used to eat when I was depressed, or be like, oh, I could take my mind off it by eating, or just, you know, go or play video games or something. Like he's eating his emotions away. That shit is really tearing him up on the inside, and he's eating his emotions. But he has a healthy outlet, well, healthy-ish outlet, by working out. I'm not saying the steroids and the cocaine is good healthy habits, but by him working out, he's not really gaining any weight from it. But anyway, I digress. It transitions to him the next day, and he's at the gym, and my man is getting ready for the gym, you know what I'm saying? He hitting the voids and he hitting the coke. So he finna put in that motherfucking work, you know what I'm saying? No, don't do that. So he's in there, he's hitting it hard. He's spitting all over the place. You know what I'm saying? He's pouring sweat and shit. He in there putting in that motherfucking work. I ain't even lying. Like when you see the dude, Jim Bros, he's in there hitting it like 2 times them bros. You know what I'm saying? Like shit. While this is happening, it kind of transitions to him on the phone, and he's talking to the people who painted his grandfather's house. And he's like, hey, this is Killian Maddox. My pawpaw has been calling y'all, and he's been requesting that y'all come back out and apply another coat of paint to his house. The paint is thin. And the dude on the phone is like, yeah, your pawpaw's been calling, and I need you to tell your pawpaw. He's like, no. You don't understand. The paint is thin on the house. Can you please come back out and apply another coat? And the guy's like, well, you don't understand. How about you tell your pawpaw that we're not coming back out unless he's ready to pay us to do it again? And he's like, no. My pawpaw, he fought in the jungles of Vietnam, and he deserves some goddamn respect. So how about you come back out here and you apply another damn coat of paint to the house? And the dude's on the phone, he's like, sir, you don't have to raise your voice. And he starts like trying to calm himself down. The dude's like, well, if you want us to come back out, you're gonna have to pay for it. And he starts like trying to calm himself down using like his 10 steps. He's like, I control my emotions don't control me. 9, I control my emotions don't control me. 8, he's doing that, and the dude on the phone is like still talking. So he gets fed up and he's like, are you at your shop right now? And the guy's like, yeah, brother, I'm at the shop right now. And he's like, how about I come down there and split your skull open and drink your brains like soup? I was like, yo, what the fuck? He gonna drink his fucking, he said that. I can't believe he said that shit. He really said that shit. So then it switches over to Killian in his car, and he fucking speeding out and shit, you know what I'm saying? Rolling up to the motherfucking shop. Once he gets up to there, he gets out the car and he goes and starts beating on the door and shit like, I'm here. I was like, yo, this is real shit. He's like, yo, I'm here. And the dude, the people in there, they already gone and shit. So Killian, he starts beating on the door, and then he get mad and he kicked the window. So then he starts breaking all the windows in there. He goes inside, pulls the paint over and shit, like straight tripping on these people. And then he steps back outside and he starts feeling the fucking pain by his kidneys again. And then he goes back into there because he's still pissed off, and he tries to destroy it a little bit more, but he ends up cutting himself all up, and he collapses collapses. Then he tries to like pull himself out of the shop, and he gets into his car, and he's like trying to drive away and shit, but he faints from the pain that he's feeling from his kidneys, and he hits another car. Then it transitions to him at the hospital, and they're doing a brain scan on him, and you can see like the little technician pointing at the monitor of his like scan and stuff like that, and the doctor begins to speak to him after he comes out of there and he's in the bed. The doctor is like, the drugs that you're taking, they're powerful and they're destroying your body. They're making your body shut down. That's why you passed out. And he's like, I'm gonna ask you again, how long have you been taking steroids? And Killian just shakes his head no. And the doctor's like, well, we did a scan of your liver and we found several tumors on your liver. They're not cancerous, but we need to have them removed ASAP. And Killian's like, he's like, no surgery. Nobody is coming at me with a knife. Which some people can be stubborn like that. I mean, if it's to save your life, I don't understand why not. But he said, fuck that, no. He's like, I can't have a scar. I'm a bodybuilder. He has a scar, you know what I'm saying, that might lower his grade or whatever. So later on that day, Killian kind of grabs his stuff and he sneaks on up out the hospital without anybody seeing him. As he's sneaking out of the hospital, we hear him writing his next letter to Brad. And he's like, dear Brad, I'm starting to feel like I'm being ignored. I'm like, yeah. Oh shit. Yo, I'm starting to feel like I'm being ignored. He's like, nah, I really hope not. Do you check your own mail or do you have somebody else do it for you? I check mine daily, but you haven't written and you haven't called. So I'm really starting to feel like I'm being ignored. I know you haven't had any competitions lately, so you can't be that busy. Are you okay? I'm worried about you. Anyway, I was in the hospital last week. And while he's writing this, it's showing scenes of him back at the gym, shooting more roids and doing more coke. Let's fucking go, man. Hey, look, not letting them fucking habits go at all. He said right back to it a week later and shit. He's like, I'm okay though. No pain, no glory, right? In other news, I'm facing a dilemma. I squat, I eat 6,000 calories a day, but no matter what I do, my legs will not grow. I have great genes, but they just won't grow. I don't know. What am I doing wrong? I've attached a picture of myself to this letter. And while he's writing this letter, he's researching liver tumors just to see how much danger he's in. As you see, my chest is really filling out. And as he's saying that, he's typing in on Google how to make people like you. He's like, to conclude, I met a girl at work. Her name is Jessie. As he's writing that, it shows that the first thing to do to make people like you is to smile. So he smiles. He's like, we'll see how it goes, but I think you'd like her. And as it transitions back to him at work and he's watching the white lady in line who's getting her groceries rung up. And he's like not liking how she's acting, how she's being rude on the phone. So he opens her pie up and spits on it. I'm like, how the fuck he do that right in front of everybody? Like, it's a dude in the line behind him. Like, he literally opened the pie up and fucking spit in it. While he's doing that, he's saying, hopefully one day you and Amanda can hang out with us. That would be fun. He's like, please call or write me back. Your friend, Killian Maddox. After that, it transitions to him at home. He's sitting there and he's eating dinner with his grandfather. And his grandfather's talking about the things that he see on the news. He's like, all these damn politicians, all they're doing is just pointing the finger at each other. Ain't neither one of them really got a damn backbone. You gotta have some goddamn backbone to survive in this life. So he's kind of like just giving that elderly knowledge to his grandson about how soft the world has become, which facts, the fucking world has become soft as fuck. I ain't even gonna lie. You can't even say, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you can't say certain things anymore. Anyway, he's like, one thing that people gotta understand is that nobody's gonna give you anything. You gotta earn it. And Killian's like, yes, sir. And he's like, that's one of the good qualities about you, is you don't blame the world for the way your life is, which that's facts. I mean, you can't blame nobody but yourself for how your life turned out. I mean, of course, your environment does control that. Your parents have a hand in that. But after you get a certain age, it's all on you. This is your life. You got to take control of it, which I felt that shit when he said it. So shout out to the grandpa. Shout out to Papa. So then the house phone rings and Killian doesn't even put it to his ear. He hands it straight to his grandfather because he like, man, ain't nobody fucking calling for me, no way. So here you go. And his grandfather like, okay. And he puts the phone to his ear and he like, oh, hello? Oh, okay. Yeah. And he's like, Killian, the phone for you. Killian like, who is it? And come to find out, it's old girl from the store. She got his phone number from the supervisor and she decided that she wants to go out with him. So they're on the phone and they're chit-chatting and shit. And they decide that they're going to go out to eat on Thursday. And then it transitions to Killian and he's like showering, getting all clean and shit. And he's shaving, getting all ready for the little date and stuff. He's amped up about it, but he's not like, he's awkward. He's socially awkward. So he's not like showing his emotions and stuff. But you can tell he's really happy about it. He's excited. So he puts on like a suit and tie and you can tell that he was raised by his grandfather because like the pants is blue, the suit jacket is yellow, the tie is blue and yellow. Like he matched, but goddamn he matched old. So he looks in the mirror and he amps himself up. He's like, oh, I'm gonna kill this shit. Like, and then he heads out to the little date. And we see that he's going to his date at this spot called the Backwoods Inn. So shout out to the Backwoods Inn. It is in Canyon Country, California. It's off Sierra Highway. So shout out to that. Like, and this is something that I was saying before in my Queen and Slim review. Like, if you're gonna do something, do it in the fucking area. Like, I wouldn't have wanted to see him go to a fucking restaurant in New York, like how they did with the whole fucking chicken joint. They was already in fucking New Orleans talking about, we're headed to New Orleans, but we're gonna show a New Orleans own chicken joint. Like, what the fuck? Like, how, Sway? How? Anyway, he's sitting in his car and he's listening to his rock music, which is something that I do. I listen to my rock music, you know what I'm saying? I like my Fall Out Boy, my Coheed and Cambria, my goddamn Cobra Starship. I'm fucking get me singing Cobra Starship up in this piece. But then he looks outside and he sees two black women who are smoking and they pointing at him and laughing at him and shit. Like, come on now. Like, people are allowed to like what they like. That does not make you weird because you like to listen to rap music or you like to listen to rock music. Or you like to listen to fucking jazz, country music. That shit don't matter. Like, you pointing and like, look at this nerd. That shit's lame. Like, them two fucking ladies is lame as fuck. Anyway, because of that, Killian starts to get into his own head. He's like, they don't like me. Like, and that's, they don't know you not to like you, bro, but it's in his head already because they're making fun of him, which I think that he was possibly a fat kid when he was young. Shout out to the big boys. I'm a big boy myself. And he had low self-esteem and things like that trigger him and he closes up. That's what I think. But that's me giving my opinion. It transitioned to Jessie walking into the restaurant and she's like, oh my gosh, I hope I'm not too late. And Killian's like, no, you're not late. And he gets up and he hugs her and stuff like that. She looks at him and she notices that he has a cut on his forehead and she reaches up and touches it and she's like, oh no, what happened? And like, just that touch, I guess it gave him like chills or something. And he's like, I was in a car accident. So they sit down and they start chit-chatting and she's like, yeah, I told my dad about our date. Is that embarrassing? And he's like, no, that's not embarrassing at all. And he's like, well, since we're clearing the air, I come to the market, you know, just when you're working, just so I can see you. And she's like, oh, really? She thinks that shit's cute and shit. Anyway, then as they're talking and kind of joking around a little bit, he like drops a bomb on everything. He's like, yeah, my dad's dead. He killed my mom and then killed himself. And it's like, damn, bro, you know, that's not something you say on the first date. Like, I mean, you can say it, but you say it like, not like that, not like 3 minutes into sitting down at the goddamn table. You don't drop no nuclear weapon like that. Like, god damn. But yeah, she gets uncomfortable by the conversation as it's going on, and the server comes over and is like taking their orders, and he orders like a whole ass of food. Like he basically orders one of everything on the fucking menu. When he says 6,000 calories, he meant 6 motherfucking thousand calories this motherfucking meal. Like, for real. He's not bullshitting, bro. And she just orders like a shrimp salad and shit. Like, my mans came here to fucking eat, you know what I'm saying? After they order their food and the waitress walks away, he can tell that she's upset. And he's like, I'm sorry that I said all that earlier. I didn't mean to kind of drop that on you like that. And she's like, no, it's fine. It's okay. And she's like, I know, I just can't believe you eat that much food. And he's like, well, if you think that's a lot of food, you should see how much Brad Vanderhorn eats. So another Brad Vanderhorn reference right there. Shout out to Brad Vanderhorn. And she's like, well, your friend Brad, does he work at Super 8 as well, which is the grocery store? And he's like, what are you talking about? And she's like, your friend Brad, does he work at the Super 8 as well? He's like, what? No, you don't know who Brad Vanderhorn is? And he starts listing the dude's accolades and shit. And he's like, yeah, he's a bodybuilder and shit. And she's like, oh, it's getting really hot in here. And he starts talking about the customers at work. He's like, do you ever feel like the customers at work kind of just walk past you and think that they're better than you because you're working in there? Do you feel like that? She's like, oh geez, it's getting really hot in here. He's like, I'm gonna show him. I got nationals in 2 weeks. He's like, yo, I got nationals in 2 weeks. I'm gonna fucking show my fucking deltoids, boy. I'm gonna finally place and get my pro card. Then they won't just walk by me like I'm a nobody. And she's trying to change the conversation. She's like, so what kind of music do you like? And he's staring off. He's like, I'm gonna be Mr. Olympia one day. Yo, Jonathan Major's the fucking GOAT, bro. Like, he fucking cooked.
Niggas said my car's the same color as fluoride. What the fuck color is fluoride, nigga?
He fucking cooked. He's like, I won't let anything stop me. I've been training for this competition for every minute of every moment of my life. Like, that's fucking dedication right there, bro. Fucking dedication right there. And he fucking talks about, like, he goes on a monologue just going in about how important it is for him to work out and that this is the most important thing in his life and that it's breaking past the fucking barrier because the muscle is used to the 9th and the 10th rep. So you got to push it further into the 11th and 12th rep. That's when the muscles start to build and grow after that 9th and 10th rep. And you have to do something big and important because otherwise nobody will remember you when you're dead. So wow, like this shit just turned into a whole legacy thing. And that's something, again, that I talk to people who are close to me about, like my girlfriend. Like, that's something that I talk to her about all the time, is legacy. What do I leave behind? How will people remember me? And that's something that I've even cried about. I've cried about, like, damn, if I die, my family will be sad for a little while, but then it'll be right back to business as normal. And it's just, it lets you know how small and insignificant that you are. But we're not going to get into that. I'm not going to get emotional about that. Carrying on. He's like, they're going to put a picture of me on the magazines and everybody's going to know that Killian Maddox was here. And like, I felt that shit. That was real. I feel like. So after all that, old girl kind of like looks off to the side and she's like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. And she goes to the bathroom and the waitress starts bringing the food out. And the waitress is like, I'm so sorry, your friend, she had to go. Do you want me to take her food away? And he's like, no, leave it. And it's like, damn, he gonna eat her shrimp salad too, man. Shout out to him eating her shrimp salad too. Like, she fucking ain't even have the decency to say this shit to his face. And he kind of like plays into it. He's like, oh yeah, that's right. She did say she had a family emergency. She just fucking left. And that kind of fed into him thinking nobody likes him. Now he sits there and he's all sad and shit. And he just starts eating his food. Then it transitions to him at home and he's walking into the bathroom and he's writing another letter to Brad, kind of like in his head again. And I gotta figure out what's that called. But he's writing the letter in his head to Brad as he's walking into the bathroom and he's sticking his finger in his mouth, forcing himself to throw up. He's like, dear Brad, I seen that you had won another competition. I have one coming up myself. Wish me luck. If you're not gonna write me back, at least let me know. I don't like having my time wasted. I was like, yo, he sound like Stan for real. Like, he cooking like for real. Speaking of wasted time, the date with Jessie was really bad. He's like, I'm not sure what went wrong. I just tried to be honest with her, but I messed it up. There's just thoughts in my head that I have no one that I can talk to about. Please write or call me back. Your number one fan, Killian Maddox. And I was like, damn, man, like, I wish that I could have spoke to him. Like, I ain't even gotta like any of the shit you like, but at least I can, you know what I'm saying, be there, be a friend for you or something, you know? And again, it goes back to what I said in my other video about being a man and making friends and how hard it is. So then as the letter comes to an end, Killian's outside and he's jogging. And as he's jogging, the police pull up beside him and they like flash their lights and they're shining the light on him and in his face. Killian is just, you know, still jogging, not trying to look dangerous or anything, just trying to, you know what I'm saying, he's just running. But the police is kind of like driving beside him with the light in his face and shit on some motherfucking rude shit. After a little while, the cop gets bored and then pulls off. After the cop pulls off, Killian stops running and he's just standing there and he's taking in deep breaths after realizing kind of just what happened, and he's in shock. A now startled and upset Killian turns around and starts walking home. He gets on the exercise bike and he has like on the hoodie, sweatpants, the trash bag, and he's cycling his ass off on the exercise bike. Then it transitions to him in the bathroom and he's doing a weigh-in for himself. And he sees that he's still a few pounds over 200. So he reaches up and he grabs the laxative and he drinks that. And then it transitions to him taking more steroids. And he's in the gym and he's just going off in the middle of the night. He's like cursing and shit, yelling while he's lifting the weights, just going in, you know what I'm saying? Then it transitions to him, he's laying on the couch and he's watching previous competitions with other guys and the winners and stuff like that. And then he gets up and he goes and he gets ready for his own competition. And as he's leaving out the house, he walks to go see his grandfather. And he's like, "Papa, I'm gonna make you proud today. I promise I'm gonna do this." And his grandfather's like, "I'm already proud of you." That kind of just goes in one ear and out the other. And me, myself personally, that happens to me too. Like somebody can give me a compliment and it's like, I already know that you're proud of me. You're my family. You're supposed to say, "Oh, I'm proud of you." But you want that recognition from outside of your own bubble, which I feel that. So after he leaves out the door and he walks to his car and he's getting in his car and he stops, he drinks a little water inside the car, a van shows up and these guys get out the van and one guy walks over to the window and is like, "Hey, is you Killian Maddox?" And he's like, "Yeah, who's asking?" And he opens the dude opens his door up and a couple of other guys come up and grab and pull Killian out the car and they start fighting him and shit. And like Killian kind of overpowers them a little bit, but then he takes a rib shot by the dude with a pipe dead to his ribs and like that like kind of like stuns him and shit. And they start wailing on Killian ass. They beat the shit out of Killian. So then after they beat the shit out of Killian, they leave and shit. Killian gets in the car. He's like, "Shit, I gotta get to my competition. I gotta get to my competition." So Killian don't stop to bandage himself up or nothing. He goes straight to the fucking competition. And they're like, "Killian Maddox." And he's like, I'm here. And he goes out and he goes to get on the stage and shit. And he starts doing the poses and then he fucking faints. Right there, he faints. I know I said a lot, but I didn't dig deep into it because this is one of the movies where you have to see it. When he was on that stage before he fainted, you could really tell that he was giving it his all as a person and he was dedicated to that shit. But the scene transitions to Killian at home and you can see that he has his arm wrapped up and he's getting into a tub full of ice and he's submerging his face and everything underneath the water and he's kind of just holding himself under there, keeping his cast above water. Then it transitions to him in his room and he does the one thing that he shouldn't do, and that is he Googles what happened. He Googles himself and he watches himself collapse on stage and he closes the laptop in frustration and disgust. After he does that, he realizes that his dream of bodybuilding is over and he starts destroying all of his tapes and he pulls all the food out the refrigerator, throws it on the floor, makes this big ass mess. Then his grandfather is like, "Hey, what's up with all that noise? You quit making all that noise." He's like, "Papa, go back to sleep." And he cleans up the mess and he takes it all outside, put it in the trash. Then he goes upstairs to his room and he stares at himself in the mirror. And on some true Eminem Stan shit, he rips all the posters and pictures off the wall. After he tears all the pictures and stuff off the wall and destroys his room, he lays on the floor in the fetal position and cries. And I don't care who you are, what kind of man you are, we've all fucking laid in that position and cried about something. Whether it's in the shower, whether it's on the toilet, the bathroom floor, in the floor in your room, laying in the bed, listening to fucking Coheed and Cambria, crying your eyes out. We've all been there and we all done that. Then it transitions back to the therapist, and the therapist is talking to him, and she's like, was you in a fight or something? What happened to you? And he's telling her, yeah, I was in a fight. And she asks, well, how are you doing, Killian? He's like, well, I have to say, things are going pretty well for me. They're gonna put me on the cover of a magazine. Mind you, he's lying, but I digress. He's like, well, they came by my house and they took pictures and stuff, and I'll bring you a copy of the magazine. And she's like, well, I'd love that. He says, oh, and I'm also dating this girl as well. She makes me really happy. And the therapist is like, well, I'm happy that she brings you joy. And she's like, it is important that you find people that you can make an emotional bond with. And Killian's sitting there, he starts to tear up and he puts on a happy face and he's like, yeah, of course. Then it transitions to Killian in his car. He's going to go look for a lady of the night. I'm gonna kind of skip this part. Like, if you want to like know what happens in this part, basically he can't get the cucumber to stand up, but we're not even going to get into that. Moving on. After this situation, Killian just realizes that she don't even like him and that she just wants him for his money. And he's like, there's something wrong with me. I have a sickness inside of me. He starts to realize that he may not be in his right state of mind. It transitions to Killian at work, and he's, stacking the fruits, kind of throwing them up there because he don't really give a shit right now. And this older white lady is like staring at him in his face and shit. And he turns and looks at her and smiles. But his smile is like all bloody and shit. And the white lady, she's just staring at him like, oh my God. And he does this gesture. And upstairs is the lady, and his supervisor walks up. He's like, Killian, when you're done with the customer, can I see you in my office for a minute? So his supervisor kind of talks to him back in the office. He's like, yeah, man, you do great work, but I don't think we'll be needing you anymore. He's like, you no-showed for a week, and when you tore that tendon in your elbow, you were off 3 weeks, no questions asked. But now I don't have time for it no more, so you gotta go, homeboy. And Killian's like, it wasn't an elbow, it was a tendon in my bicep. And he's like, whatever, man, you gotta go. You make people uncomfortable. Killian tries to spin it into like a brand deal. He like, how about if I lend my name and my likeness to your organization? And his boss is like, yo, what the hell is wrong with you? Nobody don't know who you is, bro. And Killian stands up and is like, yo, be careful how you talk to me. And the boss is like, all right, you gotta go, man. You just gotta go. So Killian leaves his job and he heads to a diner, and he's inside the diner, he's eating. Then he sees the main guy who was hitting him with the pipe walk into the restaurant that he's sitting in, and he walks in with his family. And the guy is sitting over there with his family, they're eating and stuff, and Killian's sitting and he's like, I'm not gonna do anything, but I should. And then he's like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go do it. So he gets up and he goes over to the guy and say, hey, do you remember me? You assaulted me, and now look at you. You get to sit here with your family and eat. And the guy's like, hey man, I'm with my family, just take it easy. He's like, yeah, you're with your family. I'm an only child. I don't have a family. It's just me and my papa. And the guy's like, yeah, I know it's just you and your papa. He's like, yeah, I know you know. And he looks at the guy's kid's soda and he's like, whose drink is this? And the little kid's like, it's mine. And he's like, you shouldn't drink these. They'll make you fat. Nobody will like you if you're fat. Which takes me back to my whole thing of him possibly being a fat boy. Shout out to the fat boys. After he G-checks the guy, he takes the soda with him and he goes back to his seat and he's sitting over there and he's staring at the guy. And this part was funny as hell. He's like, don't look over here. And then he throws a piece of bread at the guy. And the guy's like, what's your problem, man? And he's like, shut up. Don't look over here. And throws another piece of bread over there at him. Then somebody in the back, probably the cook or something, is like, I'm gonna call the cops. And he's like, yeah, somebody should call the cops. Call them immediately. And he throws another handful of food at the guy. And the guy's like, that's enough, just leave. And Killian runs up on the guy and jumps over the damn table and everything and just stands at the guy like, ooh. like he could have beat the dude ass, but like chose not to. After he does that, Killian just walks to the diner insulting everybody. He's like, fat, bald, short, coward, like just going the fuck in, and I respect it. He's like, yeah, call the cops. 6'1" black man, unarmed, Killian Maddox, 6'1", 240 pounds. I was like, yo! After Killian finishes going off on them patrons, he heads outside. As he's heading outside and walking towards a car, the police come. So he fucking headbutts the fucking car window with his damn head. He headbutts the car window. After he headbutts the car window, the police, they're pulling up, fucking sirens blazing, like he got a fucking tank or some shit. Look at the way they whoop this man ass. Like, stop resisting. They pepper sprayed him and everything. That's crazy. Then his therapist is reading off his charges, what the police got him for. She's like, disorderly conduct, public intoxication, destruction of property. And she's like, Killian, these are all very serious charges. And she's like, and you owe $1,200 to the woman's car whose windows you broke out. You know how you're gonna fix this? And Killian just kind of sits straight up and looks at her and says, Patricia, thank you for everything you've done. Thank you for trying to help me. And then he gets up and leaves. So Killian heads back to his car and he starts to see all the people, and he gets the idea in his head that, hey, nobody respects me for what I'm trying to do, so maybe I'm gonna make them respect me. And he starts doing like finger guns at the people, and he gets it in his head that he wants to be a mass shooter. So he starts to order his gun parts from offline, and he starts assembling quite the collection of weapons. And he's still doing his coke, and he's posing in the mirror with his shotgun and stuff, looking at himself, looking at his muscles. And he goes to a nightclub one night. So he goes to the nightclub and he's in there, he gets a drink, and he goes out, he starts dancing and flexing and stuff and looking like he's having a great time. Then it transitions to him outside, and he's shooting off the rifle that he put together, and he's like near the train tracks and stuff, so he's out there by himself, and he's just, you know what I'm saying, letting off some rounds and stuff like that. After he finished doing that, he's inside the house, and he's sitting there and he's eating like this big ass piece of cake and drinking some fucking chocolate milk. Like, shout out to that. That's some like fat boy shit, but you know what I'm saying, he buff as a bitch, so those good calories for him, good calories. And the phone just starts ringing. So he answers the phone and he's like, hello? And it's fucking Brad Vanderhorn on the phone. He's like, hey, Killian, you want to meet up? And Killian's like, Brad Vanderhorn? He's like, yeah, man, come on out here and meet me. Well, I'm gonna be at this photo shoot. You're more than welcome to come. So Killian goes to the photo shoot and he's hanging out with Brad Vanderhorn and stuff like that. And like, they're talking. And then he's like, hey man, you want to come to my trailer? Come on, you're my #1 fan. You can certainly come to my trailer. So he goes to the trailer, and yeah, I'm not gonna say what him and Brad does in the trailer, but let's just say, yeah, no, I'm not gonna say anything. Afterwards, Brad gets a phone call from his wife, and Killian, like feeling freaked out about the whole situation, he gets up and he's like grabbing his clothes and putting his clothes on and stuff, and he leaves the trailer. And Brad Vanderhorn kind of looks at him and doesn't say anything, just turns back around on his phone and shit. A few days later, Killian starts to feel weird about the situation, and he's calling Brad and he's trying to talk to him, and he's like, hey man, I'm just trying to talk to you, I'm asking you nicely. And Brad ain't answering the fucking phone for him. Brad's like, yo, you was just, you know what I'm saying, some sloppy toppy, as the boys call it, you know what I'm saying, like, nah. So Killian's like eating like handfuls of french fries, and he's feeling depressed and stuff, and he goes to another club. So Killian's at the bar and he's having a drink, and another guy kind of walks over to him. He's like, yeah man, fucking women, am I right? And Killian's kind of agreeing with him, but not really trying to say anything, but kind of agreeing with him as well. And the guy's like, man, come on man, I got these drugs, come on, let's go in the bathroom. So Killian goes in the bathroom with the guy, and they start doing a little, you know what I'm saying, white girl in the bathroom. And the guy puts this idea in Killian's head as they're doing drugs together. He's like, it's time for the people to rise up and stop being looked down upon by other people. Make them taste our shit for once. And Killian's like, yeah, I feel that. I feel that. Then it transitioned to Killian at home, and he's feeding his grandfather his medication and some food. And he's talking to Brad on the phone, and he's like leaving a voicemail for Brad. He's like, hey Brad, it's me, Killian again. I just want to let you know that I'm finna murder somebody. Then I'll probably murk myself too. And then he hangs the phone up. Then it transitions to this guy, and he's walking into his apartment, and he doesn't notice, but Killian is sitting on the chair. And once the guy like walks in the house, he's taking his jacket and stuff off, And he turns around and he sees Killian sitting there. And Killian's like, do you remember me? I remember you. And he lists off, like, he's like, you were the judge for the competition and you said my deltoids were small, but look at you. Look at your deltoids. Go ahead, take your clothes off. And the guy's like, no, man, I'll do whatever you want. I'll do whatever you want. He said, no, it's too late for that. Take your clothes off. So Killian makes the guy strip down and they turn some music on. And Killian's like, front black. And he's like having him do the poses and shit. And the guy's like crying while he's doing the poses. He's like, look at you. You're so weak and flabby. Look at you. Who are you to judge somebody, huh? Who are you? Killian makes the guy get on his knees. And he's like, now who's on the mountaintop? Huh? Who's on the mountaintop now? And the guy's on his hands and knees and he's begging with his face to the ground. And Killian gets up and leaves. Then Killian goes and he's standing at one of like the billboard signs and he's peering over at the cars driving by underneath. And he's thinking not so happy thoughts, but he doesn't act on them. He just thinks. Then he goes home and he's like searching on Google and he's searching for how to make people remember you. And he's searching through the results and it's like, be remembered by your family, be authentic. And he scrolls to the bottom and the bottom one says, be bold, change history. And that could mean a lot of things to a lot of different people. After he reads that, he's thinking and he looks up at his Brad Vanderhorn poster and he's like, he's got it. The next day, he's spray painting his wall and he's spray painting Killian Maddox was here. Afterwards, he packs a bag with all his guns in it and he leaves. As he leaves, we see a poster with red X's on Brad Vanderhorn's face. So he arrives at his destination and it's a Brad Vanderhorn show. And he waits for his opportunity and he sneaks in and he walks up to the balcony and he's watching Brad pose the different poses. Once he gets close to the stairs, he pulls his rifle out of the bag and he walks down the stairs and he gets like, I want to say maybe 10 feet away from Brad Vanderhorn and he's waiting for him to kind of finish doing his poses. And he's kind of in awe about this because Brad Vanderhorn was still his hero, even though those things they did. After he stands there for a while, just kind of watching Brad pose, he then picks the rifle up and he shoots Brad. And we see a various of flashbacks. We see his interaction with the police. We see the restaurant interaction. We see different pictures of Brad. And we also see his parents. We see his mother is kind of protecting him from his father, who is pointing at him because he must have done something to upset his father. He then stands over Brad and the people in the audience, nobody got up and ran. Everybody's just kind of just sitting there watching. And the people are still taking pictures and stuff like that, but nobody's like moving or anything. He also sees flashbacks of his mother hugging him, and he also sees a flashback of his pawpaw as well. At this moment, I think he realizes that he won't receive any love from the people in the crowd like he receives from his own family. He sees that his mother hugged him and embraced him, and that was true love. He also sees his pawpaw again, and he sees that as true love. But then he looks out on that crowd and he sees none of that. And he's like, they don't really care about me. That's what he's thinking. He's like, they don't love me the way that I want to be loved. So even though I'm doing all this, I still won't be loved. And it kind of goes to him posing on the stage under the lights. And at this moment, I think he realized that you don't do what you do for other people. You do what you do for yourself. And that's something that I realized about, like, even when it came to my YouTube channel. Shout out to my viewers. Shout out to the subscribers. Love y'all. But I can do it for y'all and I won't get the same enjoyment out of it as I would if I do it for myself. So then he kind of snaps back to reality and he's looking at Brad still. And he's like, you know what? I'm not going to throw my life away over this. So he grabs his gun and he puts it back in the bag and he walks back around the top, down the steps, and out the door. But before he leaves, he takes one last look at Brad. Killian returns back home and his grandfather is in the kitchen taking his medication. Killian walks into the house and into the kitchen doorway and sees his pawpaw, and he just breaks down and just starts crying. And he walks up to his pawpaw and he hugs him, he embraces him, and he just cries on his shoulder. His grandfather grandfather embraces him back and tells him, hey, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Don't worry. Everything's gonna be okay. He's like, you got me and I got you. Everything's gonna be all right. I promise. And Killian's like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Afterwards, Killian goes and dismantles all those guns that he had. As he's doing this, he's writing a final letter to Brad, and he's like, dear Brad, this is my final letter to you. You might learn a thing or two, so listen up. He's like, you have to do something big or important or nobody will remember you when you're dead. And as he's saying this, he's kind of like cleaning up stuff. He's throwing the rest of the guns away. He's getting rid of his cocaine and his steroids. And he says the only thing that matters in a man's life is how he will be remembered. And as he's doing that, he's taking a picture of himself and he's posing. And he's like, one day people will know my name. And as he's saying that, he's hanging up the picture that he took of himself. And the picture that he took of himself is bigger than all of the other pictures on his wall. And I feel like that is so important. Like, cherish yourself over anybody else, over your heroes, over anything. You always put yourself first, because at the end of the day, them people don't give a shit about you. They don't care about how much energy and time you put into idolizing them. At the end of the day, you just one person and you only get one life. And the movie ends going into a stage or theater, and we see another picture of Killian Maddox. He's like, I have big dreams, and one day they will put my face on magazines. Until then, signing off, Killian Maddox. Then it transitions back to him in his garage and he's looking down. Then he looks up, and that's the end of the movie. Man, like, when I tell you, like, I seen Sinners this year, man. Shout out to Sinners. But that's the second best movie I seen this year. The number one movie I seen this year was this movie, man. Magazine Dreams. It hit on all those emotions that men feel. The loneliness, the having to provide for others but not knowing how. Like, it hit so many different emotions. And yeah, I didn't tell everything that happened in the movie, because this video would have been fucking 2 hours long or longer if I really went into depth. But bro, go watch this movie, man. Go watch this movie. I can't express how good of a movie it is. I recommend it 10 out of 10. Yo, and Jonathan Majors, oh my God, bro. Like, he knows how to play them roles, bro. Like, I hope Jonathan Majors gets another chance, man. Shout out to Jonathan Majors for this. And yeah, if you like this content, I will certainly be doing more videos going forward. Again, I had some surgery. I might have some more surgery again. Not sure yet, but we'll see. But yeah, if you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. This was Magazine Dreams. It can be watched on YouTube. Not sure of all the other platforms that it can be watched on, but man, go check this one out. It's definitely, like, it's a great movie, man. Like, go check it out. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and have a good one. Thank you so much.